Hello again, and welcome to this opportunity for a little cross-curriculum madness. Today I'm with another very special guest. I don't know, you might even say even more special than the
I wouldn't go
previous
that far.
combined. But at any rate, I wanted to get, from a scientific perspective, um, from a particular science teacher, what he views um, as far as in nature, the most marvelous or fascinating or interesting thing uh,
Out there.
out there. Thank you. Yeah, I need some help
Sure.
sometimes. Without further ado in my ramblings, let us turn to our guest.
All right. Hi. Well, when you first asked me the question a few days ago, I've had some time to think about it. Um, one of the things with doing the AP Bio this year, it's been a while since I've gone through this stuff. And I remember when I learned mainly bio in school, what always struck me was just how complex everything is, especially on the cellular level. All of the thousands of things that have to happen in a cell. It's one of these things where the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know. And I mean, what would strike me is why it ever works. I mean, one thing going wrong, and occasionally things do go wrong in a cell. If you think about the analogy of launching a rocket, I think about these things.
Mm-hmm.
One thing goes wrong, it's done. All right, a million things have to go right for it to go right, and just the fact that again, I mean, one enzyme that doesn't fit, one chemical that's not there, one DNA nucleotide that's wrong, and it's toast, or it's worse than toast. It could be something like cancer. The fact that it ever works, and that the vast majority of the time, obviously, we're talking to one another, that it works is a miracle. As science people, one of the things that we try and do is to simplify, so people can understand it. But some things you can't simplify. The more you simplify, the more it's just not accurate. Um, it's amazing that as humans, you think about things that we try and build that are complicated, computers, you know, your computer crashes how often, all right, or it freezes. If life did that, we'd be toast. 90% of the time, or more than, I don't know what the percentage is, things work fine. Cells communicate, your organs communicate. If you're lacking something, a gene gets turned on that fixes it. It's amazing how ordered it actually is, and then again that it ever actually works. Whether you think that is a result of random evolution, which there's merit to that, or a God that designed it all. It's incredible that it ever works, and that in and of itself is kind of a miracle.
So you put that with the sort of notion I was thinking about over the weekend, the human body as a kind of conspiracy.
Well, it's funny. Over the summer, I was reading things. I think it was Elon Musk, of course, it was Elon Musk, about how we're all just a simulation sitting on someone's desk, or that we're all AI or something. Right. And I mean, that's interesting because we program computers. We program computers that if it gets too hot, a fan turns on. Well, we do that too. It gets too hot, we sweat. Um, of course, if something really goes wrong, it just reboots, which that right. probably wouldn't work well with the human body. But it's an interesting notion that we in a lot of ways are programmed like a computer, that we're programmed to be self-replicating, homeostasis. Again, computers want to preserve themselves, and the idea, are we just some big AI? Obviously, I don't think that we are, but there's ideas that aliens, of course, aliens would be some other kind of life. So where did they come from? But it's interesting. But the problem with that is, though, I guess it acknowledges how complex everything is, and it tries to explain it. I guess in the same way religion tries to explain it, with something else out there. Aliens built the pyramids or whatever, because it's hard to explain how people did that. But I mean, people did do it. So I guess it's a way of trying to explain it, that we're all just a massive conspiracy AI program. It's interesting. I don't really buy it, but something had to. I guess the point there is that they don't want to say that it was just random. A random confluence of mutations and biochemicals coming together in a glob making life. That's hard to swallow too.
And then you get into an interesting question where actually theology and science do meet in the ethics front, which is, what do we do with that technology? And you sort of think about Frankenstein. You sort of like, well, maybe we think of ourselves as AI because, well, we create things in our image.
Could we create something artificial that could propagate itself? I mean, could we? I mean, I don't think we can right now. But could we create computers that we program it, and using the raw materials in the air and on the earth that could continue its own line to where if humans were gone, they'd still be here. And I mean, we can't do that today, but we could get there one day. Of course, that wouldn't make us. I guess you could argue if that would make us God or not.
Right.
But it's an interesting idea. But we, in a lot of ways, are a biological computer. Our DNA codes for us. We program computers with different computer languages that code for the computer. Is DNA a computer code for people? Yeah, basically it is.
It is in a weird way what you're describing is, we've been talking about Genesis, and it is the image and likeness. So if it's true that we're creating the image and likeness of God, that He would make something that is like Himself, it makes sense that we, by extension, as sub-creators.
Of course, then the question would be, we're going on tangents now.
Right.
But if we did that and you had to, I don't know, leave a story or instructions to how it happened, where people could understand it, who didn't understand the code, what would that look like? Like the computer manual for a copy machine.
Right.
I didn't tell you at all about how the machine was constructed. It barely tells you how to fix it or anything, right? But if we were to, if the person who if the Elon Musk made the AI that could do its own thing, if he had to explain to people who don't know how it happened, I mean, would it look like a fable?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it would. I don't know.
It's funny you say this really is a tangent.
If anyone was going to read it, you better keep it simple.
There's a book called Canticle for Leibowitz, and it's about a future dark age where they're trying to reconfigure and understand things like, you said talk about a copy machine, one thing going wrong and it falling apart.
And my machine just misfed too, so I'm mad at the copier.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and trying to reconstruct this, what seems to them like just nonsense because they can't quite. So yeah, no, it's interesting.
Well, the more literal you probably try and be, the more.
Yeah, it would just be
You probably start
like a warranty or something.
You probably begin with in the beginning.
Right. It is. It's interesting. Well, thank you very much.
Sure.
I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll have another chance. Thank you very much, Mr. Koon. And the reason I like this particular conversation is because Mr. Koon gives me language. As a theology teacher, I'm limited in that way. I wish I was a scientist and a theology
you are
teacher.
Pretty limited, but it's okay.
I agree. I agree 100% with you there. And he sort of puts words to some of the things that I hear little bits and pieces of, but he knows in a more intimate way. So once again, thank you for making
No problem.
the fullness of what I'm trying to get the students to experience.
It's been fun.
All right.
All right.
Peace.